Hey everyone, happy holidays to those of you that celebrate, which, let's be honest, if you're watching this video, odds are that includes you. The holiday season is once again upon us, and I thought it would be really fun to just go through a few different Christmas themed indie games that I happened to come across. Now, all three of these games are 2D platformers. So unfortunately, if you don't enjoy 2D platformers, this is probably not going to be the video for you. And just because I'm showing all three of these games off doesn't necessarily mean that I'm saying, hey, you should play these. So we're going to go through them one by one and decide if they're fun, if they're worth the money, and all three of them are on different platforms. So if you only have a Switch and you don't have any other platform, you're not going to be able to play all of these. I'll make sure to include which platforms they're on at the beginning of each section for each game. But with all that said, let's get into it. The first game we're going to be taking a look at is Santa's Chimney Quest. Now this is a 2D platformer that also has some puzzle solving elements because you're timed, and it's a single screen game. You play as jolly old Saint Nick. You have a set number of presents in his Santa sack. That sounded wrong. Let's move on though. And you have to put them in the chimney and then reach the exit, which is basically his sleigh where you can see the reindeer. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole premise of the game, and it's not that long of a game. It took me about 16 to 17 minutes to play all the way through it, and I could say that I did have fun with it, but there are times where the controls kind of fight with you a little bit because they're a tad bit floaty. But for the most part, this was a fun little game that is really, really short. And you just respawn if you happen to fall in a pit, or if you run out of time, you just start right back where you left off. And if you miss one of the chimneys with a present, it will drop out of this Mario pipe. I don't know what this thing is that's always hanging from the start point, but whatever it is, if you make a mistake, it will drop you a present. And the game's pretty casual, but towards the end, the time will be a little bit restrictive. You can't spend too much time platforming through. You'll really have to kind of rush, otherwise you will run out and have to start over. But this one was okay. I don't know that I really recommend it at full price because like I said, you could beat this in less than 20 minutes. But if you're just looking for a little dose of holiday, you can do much worse than this one. The next game we're going to look at is called Christmas Journey to Santa. And this one is only available on Steam. So console players, I'm sorry, this one's not available for you. And this one's different than the other two games we're going to cover because this is the only one where you don't play as Santa. You're trying to get to Santa. So you play as, I'm assuming, Frosty the Snowman? Just some random snowman? I don't know, your guess is as good as mine. In this one, you just move through a level, and there's gems you can collect, which are totally optional, and you dodge obstacles. Now, this one is pretty basic, and it's $10. So this one's a tough one to really recommend. And I think if the solo developer that made this decides to patch it, and I'll explain what I think needs some work in a second, I think this one could be a game I could recommend. But as it stands right now, this is unfortunately not one I recommend. And the main reason why is because it's so incredibly simple. The obstacles and enemies just move in a particular pattern. There's swinging bells, there's cannons that really home in on you and shoot cannonballs at you. There's also these little spiky urchin looking snowball enemy things that kind of go in a circle. Then there's an enemy that moves on the ground. There's spikes. There's pits you can fall in. And that's it. That's all I experienced from my time playing it. I did not beat this game because I really wasn't enjoying this one. I only beat the first level and I got pretty far into the second. And then I made a mistake and got hit by an obstacle. And you know what happens when you make a mistake in this game? You go all the way back to the start. And this game has some really long levels. The first level took me almost 10 minutes to play through it. There's no checkpoints. So you have to play all the way through again. And then the other thing I really didn't like about it is they want you to collect these gems for like completion, and there's achievements for Steam that you can earn with these, but they're not tracked at all. And because they're not tracked at all, it doesn't feel like I'm making any progress. So I didn't like that about it either. So this was Christmas Journey to Santa. It's unfortunately a bit of a tedious journey at the time, but hey, the music's okay and it looks pretty nice. And then the last game we're going to look at, which is one you should all be familiar with if you follow my channel, is The Legend of Santa. Now, I reviewed this game fully, so I'll have a link up at the top and in the description below if you want to head over to my full review. And this one is available on PC, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch. Now, I saw a lot of comments on my review say, oh, this just looks like a Super Mario Bros. 3 ripoff. I mean, no, because it's inspired by that. Something can be inspired by something and not be a ripoff. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and Legend of Santa is just that. It's like a Christmas-themed Super Mario Bros. 3. And as someone who enjoys Super Mario Bros. 3 probably more than any of the other 2D Mario platformers, that's a compliment. So in this game, you play as Santa. There's 3 different chapters. 2 of them are Christmas-themed. And if you also enjoy Halloween, the 3rd chapter is Halloween-themed. And there's different suits you could collect. Pretty much one throws balls of coal, and it's like the fire flower from Mario. Another throws candy canes, almost in like a little bit of an arc pattern, which is a little bit different than most Mario power-ups. It has an overworld map for each chapter, similar to, again, Mario Bros. 3, and there are secrets, so if you happen to find a secret exit, you can bypass some of the levels. Each chapter has branching paths, so, like sometimes you might have an auto-scroller level on one side, and then like a water level on the other, and you don't necessarily have to pick just one. You could just play both if you want to, but if you just want to play through the chapter, you can just pick which one you want. This one has some really charming visuals. I really love 8-bit art, and this has some nice pixel art. The soundtrack is very Christmas themed, and I love that about it. And even like the minor details, like the lava being replaced by hot chocolate, this game just has a lot going for it in the aesthetic department that I really enjoyed. If I had to pick a winner out of these 3 games, and one that I could say, this is definitely the one you should play if you can only pick one game, I'm going to go with, of course, The Legend of Santa. That's the one I enjoyed the most. I played it again to record some new footage for this video. I didn't just reuse footage I had from my review that I made a few weeks ago. So this game is only like $5. It's available on PC, Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation 5. So definitely pick this one up if you're looking for a fun 2D platformer to play this holiday season. So that's it, guys. That's all I have for this video. I really just wanted to share these 3 games. Hopefully you enjoyed at least one of the 3 games I showed, or just enjoyed this video. And if you did, make sure to like, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. But until next time, Merry Christmas.